Welcome to another episode of the video. President Trump has made so much money since he became United States of American president. Find out how he amassed such wealth and fortune. For more video like this, subscribe, like, and share our channel. Life Fact Daily. America is often called the land of opportunity. And while that phrase usually applies to everyday dreamers chasing success, there's one job in particular where the opportunity is on an entirely different scale: the presidency of the United States. Along with the symbolic power of leading the free world, the job comes with a base salary of $400,000 a year, generous travel and expense budgets, and a host of lifetime perks. But here's the real twist. For certain presidents, the Oval Office isn't just about power and policy, it's about profit. In today's deep dive, we're uncovering how President Donald Trump turned his time in office, and the years after, into one of the most staggering financial empires ever associated with the presidency. From crypto coins to billion-dollar Middle Eastern deals, from golf courses to private jets, from merchandising to lawsuits, the scale of wealth is jaw-dropping. And yet, the real question is bigger than Trump himself. Are we entering an age where becoming president is not just about governing, but about becoming the ultimate business mogul? Trump's unexpected pivot to cryptocurrency. America is often called the land of opportunity, but when you step inside the corridors of the White House, opportunity takes on a whole new meaning. The president is not just the face of the United States. He is the executor of power, the commander-in-chief, and, in many ways, the storyteller of the nation. But what lies behind that carefully polished image? What forces truly shape the presidency? And how much freedom does any president actually have? To understand Trump's second-term fortune, you have to start with something you might already be sick of hearing about: crypto. Yes, the world of digital coins, ape JPGs, and blockchain hype. But while most people dabbled in crypto for fun or speculation, for Trump, it became a lifeline. After the January 6 Capitol events in 2021, Trump's financial world shifted dramatically. Traditional banks distanced themselves. Capital One and Deutsche Bank, once key lenders, cut ties. Considering Deutsche Bank's controversial history, being dropped even by them showed just how toxic Trump had become in traditional finance circles. And yet, this rejection became an opportunity. Shut out of mainstream banking, Trump had the perfect excuse to go all in on cryptocurrency. Under his administration, the SEC streamlined crypto trading rules. Trump Media partnered with Singapore-based Crypto.com, which had already donated millions to Trump's inauguration, ensuring favorable treatment. Exchange-traded funds branded under Trump's name hit the markets. In his second term, Trump vowed to make America the world's crypto capital. Critics warned about volatility and environmental impact, but the president brushed those off as minor inconveniences. His open support boosted major coins like Bitcoin, and his personal holdings skyrocketed. By August 2025, reports suggested Trump's crypto assets alone were worth $1.3 billion. But he didn't stop at Bitcoin. He launched his own meme coin, Trump Coin. Dropped just 3 days before his second inauguration, exploded in value the moment he was sworn in. Within 3 weeks, Trump Coin sales hit $314 million. And because Trump owned the platform it was sold on, he pocketed another $36 million in trading fees. In total, a cool $350 million. Not to be outdone, Melania Trump launched Melania Coin. While smaller, it still pulled in around $65 million. Together, the Trump family's crypto empire earned roughly $385 million, even after dramatic swings in market value. One stunt even included Trump promising an exclusive White House dinner for top Trump coin holders, which briefly doubled its value. Crypto alone brought Trump's second-term fortune close to $1.7 billion. But that was just the beginning. Gulf states, where politics meets business. While crypto dominated headlines, Trump's real power play came through international deals, particularly in the Persian Gulf. The Gulf monarchies, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, and others, control vast oil wealth and their leaders hold absolute power over how money moves. For decades, Gulf elites had invested heavily in American real estate, including Trump properties. But under Trump's presidency and influence, those investments grew into billion-dollar political bargaining chips. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, founded Affinity Partners, a private equity firm. Despite Kushner having no real background in finance, Saudi Arabia's crown prince invested $2 billion into the fund. Other Gulf states soon followed, bringing the fund's assets to $4.8 billion. The catch? Private equity funds typically charge 2% in management fees, which meant $81 million annually. Over a decade, that added up to $810 million, with at least $320 million flowing directly to Kushner and, by extension, the Trump family. Critics labeled it a textbook influence buying scheme. Gulf monarchies weren't just investing in a fund, they were investing in Trump's political future. And then came golf. After the PGA cut ties with Trump post-January 6th, Saudi Arabia swooped in with its new LIV golf tournament. Trump's Bedminster course hosted events, marking the start of a new licensing frenzy. Soon, Trump resorts and golf courses appeared across Oman, Dubai, and beyond. Licensing Trump's name became less about branding and more about political influence. A single new Trump golf course in Dubai was projected to generate nearly $16 million. Add in licensing for resorts and condos in Oman and Saudi Arabia, and the family's Middle Eastern portfolio ballooned. And as if that wasn't enough, Qatar sweetened the deal with a jaw-dropping gift: a Boeing 747-8 luxury jet valued at $150 million on the used market. A flying palace, courtesy of international friendship. Asia joins the party, Vietnam's Trump Tower. Trump's empire didn't stop in the Middle East. Vietnam struck a major deal with him to build Trump Hotel Hun Dinh, a massive $1.5 billion resort, golf course, and hotel complex. For Trump, licensing fees alone netted $5 million, but the prestige mattered more. It was to be the largest Trump-branded resort in the world. The deal wasn't just about hotels. Vietnam had become a huge beneficiary of Trump's tariffs on China, with exports to the U.S. forming a third of its economy. The Trump resort symbolized closer ties, and Vietnam's bet that aligning with Trump could shield it from trade wars. Domestic cash cows, Mar-a-Lago and merch. Back home, Trump's winter White House, Mar-a-Lago, remained a gold mine. Membership fees skyrocketed, reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. With only 500 slots, access became a political currency in itself, granting elites direct exposure to Trump and his circle. In total, Mar-a-Lago earned Trump an estimated $125 million. Then there was merchandise. Trump's private store sold everything from $50 Gulf of America hats to $18 beer koozies. While branded as campaign swag, profits went directly into Trump's pocket, not political funds. His merchandise empire, combined with clever loopholes that let him channel donor money into personal legal defenses through PACs, brought in roughly $177 million. Lawsuits, settlements, and scandals. Another quirky income stream? Lawsuits. Trump became notorious for suing corporations and individuals for defamation, and many companies quietly settled. Disney allegedly paid $15 million. Meta paid $25 million. Even Elon Musk's X/Twitter reportedly settled for $10 million. And then came the alleged cash for pardon scandal. Wealthy offenders donated at least $75,000 each in exchange for presidential pardons. While smaller compared to billion-dollar Gulf deals, it added another $91 million when combined with lawsuit settlements and media rights sales. Truth Social, the meme stock machine. Perhaps the most publicized of Trump's ventures is Truth Social, his personal social media megaphone. Launched after Twitter banned him in 2021, it became the only platform he actively posts on. Though daily users number just over 500,000, the fact that it's Trump's exclusive stage keeps investor money flowing. Experts call it a meme stock, valued more on hype than fundamentals. Even so, it's estimated to have earned Trump between $20 to $25 million. Other family ventures and the bigger picture. Beyond Trump himself, his sons partnered with donor Omid Malik to launch luxury social clubs called Executive Branch, a gun retailer named Grab a Gun, and an equity firm, 1789 Capital. Collectively, these ventures raised about $500 million, adding yet another income stream. When you add up crypto, Gulf investments, licensing deals, resorts, Mar-a-Lago, merchandise, lawsuits, Truth Social, and equity funds, the Trump family's fortune from political power surpasses $3.4 billion. No U.S. president has ever come close to that level of profit. The bigger question, so what does all this mean for America? Is the presidency still a calling, or has it officially become a business opportunity? Trump Jr. himself once said critics would attack the family no matter what, so they may as well pursue every opportunity. Ethically questionable? Perhaps. Illegal? Not necessarily. But the precedent is clear. The Oval Office is now also a boardroom. And Trump may have set a model future leaders will be tempted to follow. But we're just scratching the surface. We've explored Trump's fortune, but what about the extreme measures taken to protect it? And protect him? In the next part, we'll uncover the insane lengths the Secret Service and other agencies go to ensure the safety of the President of the United States. Because here's the truth. Presidents don't govern in isolation. They operate within a system, sometimes controlled by allies, sometimes constrained by enemies, and often manipulated by forces much larger than any single individual. And if you thought the presidency was just about waving from Air Force One or signing bills into law, buckle up. What we're about to uncover is both fascinating and unsettling. The machinery of the presidency. The United States presidency is like an iceberg. What the public sees is only the tip. Speeches, campaign rallies, debates, press conferences, carefully orchestrated photos, and moments of national triumph or tragedy. But below the surface lies a massive machinery of advisors, intelligence agencies, lobbyists, political donors, think tanks, and bureaucracies, each tugging at the president, shaping decisions, and often determining the outcome of history. Think about it this way. No president enters the White House alone. From the moment they step inside, they inherit institutions older than themselves. The CIA, the Pentagon, the FBI, the Treasury, and countless others. Each one has its own agenda, its own career officials, and its own way of influencing the commander-in-chief. And then there's Congress, the co-equal branch of government that can either back the president's vision or grind it to a halt. Add in the Supreme Court, which can overrule executive actions, and you begin to see how even the most powerful man in the world is surrounded by checks, balances, and invisible cages. But here's the twist. While these institutions are supposed to keep presidents accountable, they also create opportunities for power games, backroom deals, and sometimes outright manipulation. Lobbyists, donors, and the price of power. Let's face it, presidential campaigns don't come cheap. Every election cycle, billions of dollars flow into political races, and much of that money doesn't come from everyday citizens. It comes from corporations, wealthy donors, and special interest groups who expect a return on their investment. Energy companies want favorable regulations. Tech giants want lighter restrictions. Defense contractors want bigger military budgets. Pharmaceutical firms want protection for their patents. And when those donors write checks, they're not just buying TV ads, they're buying influence. No matter how independent a president claims to be, the reality is that campaign financing ties them to certain industries and interests. And that means decisions in the Oval Office are often influenced by who helped put the president there in the first place. This isn't just speculation, it's history. Look at Lyndon B. Johnson's deep ties to Texas oil and defense contractors during the Vietnam War. Or Ronald Reagan's close relationship with big business, which fueled massive deregulation in the 1980s. Or Barack Obama's Wall Street backing in 2008, which shaped his administration's response to the financial crisis. Money doesn't just talk in Washington, it shouts. The national security state. But if money is one arm of presidential influence, intelligence is another. The U.S. president sits atop the largest intelligence apparatus in the world. The CIA, NSA, FBI, and dozens of shadowy agencies feed the president daily briefings filled with secrets the public will never know. It sounds empowering, but it's also a trap. Because once presidents are inside the intelligence loop, they face choices that can define or destroy their legacies. Take John F. Kennedy. He inherited the CIA's plan to invade Cuba at the Bay of Pigs, a plan that had been set in motion before he even took office. When the operation failed, Kennedy bore the blame, even though much of the groundwork was laid before his presidency. Or consider George W. Bush in the aftermath of 9/11. The intelligence community shaped his worldview with warnings about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Warnings that later proved disastrously wrong, but led to a war that reshaped the Middle East and U.S. foreign policy for decades. The national security state is not just a tool of the president. In many ways, it can manipulate the president, feeding selective information, withholding secrets, and framing options in ways that limit real choice. Presidents and the burden of war. No discussion of the presidency is complete without confronting the most terrifying power any U.S. president holds: the power of war. With a single order, the president can launch drone strikes, deploy troops, and even unleash nuclear weapons capable of wiping out humanity. But here's the paradox. While the president has this authority, he is constantly pulled by military leaders, defense contractors, and geopolitical strategists who all see war differently. Generals push for military readiness and decisive action. Defense companies push for new weapons contracts and endless conflict. Allies and rivals abroad push for protection or deterrence. The result? Presidents often inherit wars they didn't start and can't easily end. Truman had Korea, Johnson had Vietnam, Bush had Iraq, Obama had Afghanistan. Biden faced the aftermath of all of them. War becomes less a choice and more a reality of the office. And history judges presidents harshly when they mishandle it. Media, image, and the presidency. In today's world, the presidency is as much about perception as it is about policy. Presidents are not just leaders, they are brands. Every smile, every frown, every slip of the tongue is magnified by the media and amplified across social platforms. The result? Presidents are trapped in a constant performance. One wrong move, and their approval ratings plummet. One strong moment, and their popularity soars. Franklin Roosevelt had radio. John F. Kennedy mastered television. Donald Trump weaponized Twitter. Joe Biden faces a media environment where deep fakes, misinformation, and viral clips can shape global perception overnight. The presidency, in short, is not just about governing. It's about surviving the 24/7 spectacle of modern media. And for many presidents, that spectacle becomes their greatest battlefield. The human side of the presidency. It's easy to think of presidents as symbols or superhumans. But at the end of the day, they are still people, flawed, pressured, and often overwhelmed. Behind the speeches and ceremonies are sleepless nights, impossible decisions, and the crushing weight of knowing that one mistake could cost millions of lives. Imagine waking up every morning to a binder filled with global threats, domestic crises, and political traps, and knowing that the entire world is watching your every move. That's the daily reality of the presidency, and it explains why so many presidents age dramatically during their time in office. The stress isn't just political, it's personal. Families are dragged into the spotlight. Friendships fracture under pressure. Legacies are written and rewritten in real time. The presidency isn't just a job, it's a transformation, and often a burden that no one truly understands until they carry it. We've now seen how money, intelligence, war, and media shape the Oval Office. But the question remains, what happens when the system breaks down? What happens when presidents clash with the very forces that are supposed to support them? What happens when a leader tries to break free from the machinery, and the machinery fights back? History offers chilling examples. Presidents who were undermined, sabotaged, or even cut down before they could finish their missions. The truth is unsettling. History shows us that when a president challenges entrenched interests, he risks more than just losing popularity. He risks his career, his reputation, and sometimes his life. The assassination factor. Assassinations are the most extreme form of political conflict, and America has seen its share. Each time, the nation was shaken to its core. Abraham Lincoln, 1865. Killed after leading the Union to victory in the Civil War, Lincoln's assassination wasn't just a personal tragedy. It was a national trauma. His death left Reconstruction in chaos and shaped the course of post-war America. James Garfield, 1881. Shot just 4 months into his presidency by a disgruntled office seeker, Garfield's assassination highlighted the corruption of the patronage system. His death paved the way for civil service reform, showing how even tragedy can reshape government. William McKinley, 1901. Assassinated by an anarchist at the height of America's industrial boom. McKinley's death catapulted Theodore Roosevelt into power, changing the trajectory of the nation's foreign and domestic policies. John F. Kennedy, 1963. The most infamous assassination in modern history. Kennedy's murder in Dallas remains shrouded in mystery, with official reports pointing to Lee Harvey Oswald, but conspiracy theories abound. Was it the Soviets? The Cubans? The Mafia? Or elements within the U.S. itself? Decades later, the Kennedy assassination remains a symbol of how fragile presidential power truly is. But even attempted assassinations, like those against Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, and Theodore Roosevelt, show us a chilling pattern. The presidency is a target, and presidents who disrupt too much risk violent retaliation. The deep state question. Whispers about a deep state, a shadow network of bureaucrats, intelligence officers, and power brokers, have circulated for decades. Some dismiss it as conspiracy. Others see it as the unspoken reality of Washington. What we know for sure is this: presidents are not all-powerful. They rely on advisors, cabinet members, intelligence agencies, and security networks to carry out their decisions. And sometimes those networks resist. Consider, Richard Nixon thought he controlled the FBI and CIA, but during Watergate, leaks from within the intelligence community helped bring him down. John F. Kennedy clashed with the CIA after the Bay of Pigs disaster, vowing to splinter the agency into 1,000 pieces. Months later, he was dead. Coincidence or a consequence? Donald Trump waged war with intelligence agencies, calling them corrupt and biased. In turn, leaks and investigations plagued his presidency from start to finish. The deep state may not be a secret government in smoke-filled rooms, but it is a reality. Career officials, networks of power, and entrenched institutions that outlast any single president. And when presidents fight them, the fallout is massive. Scandals that shook the presidency. Sometimes, the system doesn't need bullets to bring a president down. Scandal is often just as effective. Watergate, 1972 to 1974. Nixon's attempt to cover up a political break-in spiraled into one of the biggest scandals in U.S. history. Congressional investigations, media exposés, and intelligence leaks forced Nixon to resign, the only president to do so. Iran-Contra, 1980s. Ronald Reagan's administration was caught secretly selling weapons to Iran and funneling money to Nicaraguan rebels, bypassing Congress. Though Reagan survived politically, the scandal exposed the shadowy ways presidents use covert operations to advance their goals. Monica Lewinsky and impeachment, 1990s. Bill Clinton's affair with a White House intern led to impeachment proceedings, showcasing how personal scandals can derail political agendas. Trump and the two impeachments, 2019 to 2021. Accused of abuse of power, obstruction, and incitement of insurrection, Trump became the first president to be impeached twice. While he survived both trials, his presidency was consumed by constant scandal and division. Scandal is the system's silent weapon. It exposes, embarrasses, and destabilizes, often leaving presidents politically crippled even if they survive legally. When presidents rebel, some presidents try to break free from the machine. They push against the entrenched interests the intelligence networks, and the money pipelines. But history shows us that rebellion comes at a cost. Andrew Jackson fought the powerful national bank, calling it a monster. He survived assassination attempts and political wars, but his presidency left deep divisions in the economy. Abraham Lincoln defied half the nation to end slavery and preserve a union, only to be assassinated. Franklin Roosevelt clashed with Wall Street, corporate America, and even elements within his own government, surviving multiple assassination attempts and coup plots. John F. Kennedy resisted the military-industrial complex, seeking peace with the Soviets and withdrawal from Vietnam, until his life ended in Dallas. Each rebellion reveals the same truth. The presidency is not just leadership, it's survival. Public opinion, the final weapon. For all the hidden forces, scandals, and assassinations, one thing matters most: public opinion. Presidents rise and fall on the backs of the people they serve, or fail to serve. Franklin Roosevelt commanded loyalty through fireside chats, speaking directly into American homes. Ronald Reagan charmed the nation with optimism and communication skills. Barack Obama energized voters with hope and change. Donald Trump rallied crowds with raw emotion and populist rhetoric. But when public opinion turns, no president can withstand it. Lyndon B. Johnson was forced out by Vietnam. George W. Bush's popularity collapsed after Iraq. Even popular presidents like Harry Truman left office with abysmal approval ratings. The presidency is not just about governing. It's about convincing the people to follow. Lose that, and even the most powerful office in the world becomes powerless. America's presidency: power, privilege, and the price of leadership. Conclusion: the presidency, a crown of thorns. From the very beginning, America's presidency has been painted as the pinnacle of power, the ultimate prize in the land of opportunity. Yet across history, we've peeled back the layers to reveal a sobering truth. The office is as much a burden as it is a blessing. We saw how presidents inherit institutions older than themselves: armies, intelligence agencies, economic systems, and political networks, each one pulling in its own direction. We explored how lobbyists, donors, and corporations shape decisions long before a bill reaches the president's desk. We exposed the shadows of scandal, the whispers of deep state resistance, and the chilling reality of assassination when leaders push too far against the system. Yes, the President of the United States holds immense power. The power to command the world's strongest military, to influence global markets, to shape culture, and to inspire nations. But that power is never absolute. It is contested, manipulated, and often weaponized against the very man who holds it. The presidency is not freedom. It is captivity within a cage of expectations, secrets, and impossible choices. Every president learns this truth. You cannot please everyone. You cannot escape history. And you cannot control the forces that move beneath the surface of government. For some, like Lincoln, Kennedy, and Roosevelt, the office demanded the ultimate price. For others, like Nixon, Clinton, and Trump, the system turned scandal into a political weapon. And for all, the burden of war, crisis, and public judgment left scars that time could never erase. So what is the legacy of the presidency? It is both greatness and tragedy. It is the stage where human ambition meets the harsh weight of responsibility. It is proof that leadership at the highest level is not about privilege. It is about sacrifice. The American presidency remains the most powerful office in the world, but it is also a crown of thorns. To wear it is to inherit not just authority, but danger, judgment, and the crushing knowledge that history will never forget your choices. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. Power without accountability is dangerous, but accountability without mercy is fatal. As America marches forward, one thing is certain: presidents will rise, presidents will fall, but the office will endure. It is bigger than any one man, stronger than any scandal, and more enduring than any conspiracy. But we, the people, must never forget: Behind the podium, the flags, and the speeches stands not a king, not a savior, but a human being, flawed, pressured, and fragile. And in that fragility lies the true story of America's leadership. If you find this analysis interesting, let us know your take on the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the channel. Life Facts Daily.